This is the Beatbot AquaSense 2 Ultra Cordless Pool Vacuum Robot. The most impressive part is how it takes a messy pool day, with leaves, twigs, and that stubborn film along the water line, and turns it into a set it and forget it routine that actually leaves the water looking clear. It is a cordless pool cleaning robot built for real maintenance, not just touch-ups. I see it as a strong fit for medium to large pools, especially if there are trees nearby or wind that keeps blowing stuff under the surface. If you have a simple plunge pool with minimal debris, you might not need all of what it offers. If you are fighting leaves, pollen, and grime around the edges, or you want something that climbs and scrubs without babysitting, this sits in the right category. The design looks modern and feels durable. The finish is a smooth matte that does not show scuffs easily, and it does not look faded after long sunny days. It is a sizable robot and it has some heft. It is around 29 pounds, so I was a little cautious about how easy it would be to handle. The reason that weight does not become a deal breaker is the way it parks itself at the surface and drains water fast. When a cleaning run ends or the battery gets low, it rises to the top and dumps a lot of water quickly. That makes it noticeably lighter and easy to grab and lift out. I do not have to haul a heavy waterlogged machine up from the deep end anymore. The brushes on both ends matter more than I expected. Scrubbing both forward and backward means fewer missed spots and fewer passes, which translates to less time running and less time waiting. Setup is straightforward. I charged it, dropped in the clarifying agent capsule in the little compartment, paired it to the companion application on my phone, and placed it in the pool. The first run did a quick sense of the pool shape, and then it just got to work. The application is clean and responsive once you get used to it. I can start a cleaning mode, set a schedule, or send it to park. Commands go through quickly when the robot is near the surface or close to the edge. When it is deep underwater, there are moments where the connection lags or drops. That has not been a real problem for me because I do not babysit it while it is cleaning, and once it returns to the surface, I can park it or switch modes with one tap. What stands out is the way it actually cleans. This is a true 5-in-1 machine. It handles the floor, it climbs and scrubs the walls, it cleans the water line, and it skims debris on the surface. Most robots I have used ignore the surface and that ring at the water line. That is where a lot of the visual grime lives. This one goes after it. The path planning is smart. Beatbot calls it a HybridSense system, and under the hood it is using sensors and a camera with some artificial intelligence to map and plan coverage. In practical terms, I watched it move in confident lines, correct itself around ladders and returns, and cover strange corners without getting lost. Inside the application, I can see a simple map and watch the progress in real time, which is helpful if you want to target a certain area. On debris pickup, it handled my mix of large leaves, tiny seed pods, and that constant dusting of pollen really well. After a windy afternoon, I used the remote control mode in the application to steer it across the surface, and it felt like using a slow but precise skimmer that never misses in the middle of the pool. The dual brush setup makes a bigger difference than I thought. With brushes on the front and on the back, it scrubs on the way forward and on the way back. That means fewer streaks and less chance of leaving a faint line of dust behind. When it transitions to the water line cleaning mode, it climbs smoothly and stays steady while scrubbing that band. I used to spend a lot of time with a hand brush on that area. Now I barely touch it. Battery life has been consistently strong. In surface skimming mode, I have seen it run around 11 hours. That is more than enough to keep the top clear during a long day with wind and leaves. On a full floor and wall session, I get around 5 hours, which gives me full coverage in my pool without rushing. Recharging takes about 4 hours. That has fit into my routine easily. I just plug it in after dinner and it is ready the next morning. Noise matters if you like to relax by the pool, and this robot is quiet. It sits around 55 decibels by my ear, which is gentle background noise, not a whine. The clarifying agent is an unexpected bonus. You drop the little cartridge into the compartment and trigger it from the application when the water looks just a bit dull. It is described as skin safe and environment friendly, and in practice, it does what I want. It keeps the water sparkling without me pouring in a lot of additional chemicals. I have noticed that the filter feels less gunked up after a week when I use the clarifier sparingly, likely because fine particles are clumping and getting caught more efficiently. In real use, the robot has handled my pool's shape and quirks very well. There are steps and a bench ledge, and like most robots, it does not scrub the top of the steps perfectly. It does a nice job along the edges of those steps, and it clears the dust that collects right where the step meets the wall. It also deals with the main drain cover without getting stuck. It pauses, adjusts, and moves on. I watched it after a storm when the surface had large leaves and the floor had a layer of grit. I ran a full clean, then switched to surface skimming with manual control for a few minutes to grab the last cluster of leaves gathered by the skimmer. That combination left the water looking like it had been professionally serviced. One of my favorite use cases is a quick pre-swim cleanup on a Saturday morning. I send it into a targeted mode for the water line and walls while I make coffee. By the time towels are out, that sun-baked ring around the tile is gone and the pool looks sharp. The other is an evening maintenance run. I schedule an overnight floor clean and a short clarifier dispense so the water looks extra clear the next day. The scheduling and the application is simple, and the robot does not need me standing nearby to start or finish. It will surface and wait for me to lift it out when I am ready. A few small things to keep in mind. The size and weight are real, and although the surface park and quick draining make it easy to lift, this is not a featherweight. If you prefer something tiny and ultra-portable, that is not what this is. The connection in the application is not perfect underwater. I have had moments where a command hangs until it floats closer to the surface. That said, the automatic routines are reliable, and I rarely need to intervene mid-cycle. Maintenance has been light. I empty the debris basket, rinse the internal filter, and check the brushes for hair or string. There is also a 3-year replacement guarantee, which adds reassurance for long-term use. The unique features that genuinely add value are the surface parking and fast drain, the dual brush design, the true 5-in-1 cleaning, and the clarifier system that I can control on demand. The mapping I see in the application is helpful for confidence, and the manual control for skimming is the kind of extra feature that gets used more than I expected. If you have a larger or more complicated pool, if you are constantly fighting leaves and pollen, or you simply want to spend less time with a net and a brush, the Beatbot AquaSense 2 Ultra has the performance and the features to keep things under control with minimal effort from you. If your pool is very small and stays clean most of the time, the advanced modes and long battery life may be more than you need. For me, the balance of strong cleaning, real autonomy, and thoughtful touches like surface parking make it a practical, reliable part of weekly pool care. Check the comments of this video for a link to see the current pricing of the Beatbot AquaSense 2 Ultra Cordless Pool Vacuum Robot.